Alright pilots, hello and welcome back. Now I have been using the ship and I have been using drones as my primary weapon for at least 3 to 4 weeks now. The drones did perform quite well, and of course the ship did also perform quite well. I do use the ship for both PvP and for encounters and of course for storylines. Very soon I will convert the ship to be specifically for PvP. Now, speaking of drones, at the moment the most widely used weapon systems are missiles. The drones are coming second, and both of the weapon systems do have their advantages and they do have their disadvantages. For example, drones do have very good DPS, they also have very good range, but they are very expensive, as you will see here. Now at the moment I do need 4 EM drones, and I think I'll buy the Mark 7 infiltrators. As you can see, all of the drones do have the same damage output. The only difference is the damage type that they do. Now I need EM drones because they are very good at destroying shields, while explosive drones are good to be used at armors and against hulls. Of course, in the end I will buy most of these drones. As you can see, they are indeed expensive. The hammerheads, for example, are the most expensive drones, and well, I have 20 of those somewhere in a station, and people do like to use hammerheads for missions. In my case, I do like to use the Valkyries and I like to use the infiltrators. Now the faction drones are still not available. You can expect the prices for the faction drones to be very high. I expect around 50 to 100 million ISK per piece, but I need to get EM drones. That means I have to buy a couple of these Mark 7 infiltrators, which I'll do right now. Okay, I'll buy 2 of these, and then I will buy 2 of these. They are both in the same station, so I will not spend too much time traveling. Then time to jump on the PvP part. So in PvP I like to use the ship with Valkyries. Valkyries are the cheapest and they do the most damage to hulls and armors. Now the target here is a Moa Guardian. One thing that you should know about the Guardians, they are very tanky. They are very powerful support ships. Those ships are designed for fleets and they are usually very powerful supports. Now, this Guardian here is solo. We did manage to catch one thanks to my scouting. As you can see, I like to use this ship as a scout and of course as a support DPS. In the scouting, I did manage to find the ship at one belt, and I just tracked the ship's warp pattern towards this location, and then I called in the fleet to jump in on this location to catch this Moa. Now, as you can see, the explosive drones are not doing too much damage on the shields, and of course that is because the shield resistance against explosive is usually very high. And I can say that this Moa has at least 90% resistances on the explosive damage, which is indeed very high. And in this case, if I did use the infiltrators, I would be doing a lot more damage. Well, of course, that would not mean that the ship doesn't have EM resistances. I'm sure that this Moa has a very expensive hit because it will take some time for us to shoot down this ship. But in this case I should have used EM drones because they would do more damage. But again, that is okay because once the shield on that Moa is gone, the drones are going to shred the armor and shred the hull of that ship. Mostly because cavalry ships don't have good armor resistances, and I use explosive damage, so once the shield of that ship is gone, the ship is going to be shot down very fast. Well, I think there is at least, let's see, 5 or 6 of our ships shooting at this Moa. And as you can see, this ship is holding out quite well so far. Almost at the end of the shield. Now, I like to use drones in this case as a long range weapon. That is my initial plan to use the ship for. Now, when I convert this ship for PvP only, which will happen very soon, I do expect to have around 700 or even 800 DPS, because I will have very expensive rigs that will improve the damage output, and I will also be leveling up a couple other skills that I also do need at the moment. Well, that Moa did enable a shield extender, a large shield extender, I must say, because that's, I have to say, this ship has a lot of shield, which is impressive. But the ship is reaching the end of its shield, and have to say, good job to everyone who was participating in this catch, because that Moa will be a very good kill. And the ship lost its shields. Now watch the damage output on the armor. That ship is getting absolutely destroyed by my drones here. And the Moa is almost shot down. Well, like I said, once the shield on that thing is gone, the ship is destroyed. Now here I accidentally locked on my friendly, but I will not shoot at the friendly. I did want to go and approach the wreck, but the commands like to switch positions for some reason, and they have looted the wreck. Well, I have to say that was a nice catch. That was a very nice catch. I would be doing more damage if I did change the rigs on this ship. Now, let's see. I will attempt to cloak here, and of course I will take a look at the kill report. Well, 306 million ISK. Well, not bad. I am third place by DPS because of the drones, and that ship had a decent fit. I must say. Very high resistances on the shields, and well, that Rapture Guardian didn't wanna play. Oh well, that was nice. That was a very nice catch. Okay, so here I do have my EM drones in a, I think this is a storyline, or it should be a normal mission. Now here you'll see how the EM drones are going to shred shields the same way as explosive drones make Swiss cheese out of armors and hulls. In my case, I do like to make combinations with drones. For example, I like to use 2 EM drones combined with 2 explosive drones. But in most cases, you should stick to only one drone damage type. That way you will maximize the DPS. But of course, in some situations you can also use several drone damage types in a single attack. In this case, I only use EMs, and of course I will later switch on the explosive drones. Now I have to say, the last update, the developers did change the damage models, which is interesting. Now the damage models are quite accurate, and you can see how each shot of my drones is making physical damage onto the hull, or should I say onto the armor of that destroyer. the same way as they will do same damage to the armor and the hull of this ship too. Now, I am thinking if I should buy a Arbitrator just to see how that ship will perform, but I think I will save up my ISK. That shot was close to the bridge. That cruiser was lucky that the laser didn't penetrate the command bridge. Well then, I have to say they did a very good job on the damage models. It is now interesting to look at the ship's take damage, I guess. Well, that's the... Now you did notice that the EM drones don't do a lot of damage, or should I say they don't do too much damage on the armors and hulls. That is because armors and hulls usually have good resistances on EM. Especially armors, they have I think armors have 60% EM resistances by default on most ships, while hulls have 33.3% resistances on all damage types. While shields usually have 20 or 0% resistances on EM damage. So in the end, each of the weapons, or should I say each of the drones, do have their purpose. And in my case, I do like to use Valkyries for most stuff because they're fast. Valkyries are, by the way, the fastest drones. They go 3 kilometers per second. These drones go 2.7 kilometers per second, and that can also make a difference. For example, if a ship is going at around 2.8 kilometers per second, the infiltrators could not and should not be able to reach that target. But the Valkyries are going to manage to catch that target because they are overall faster. Now here I do use a combination of EM and of the explosive drones, and I have to say now I do equal amount of damage towards the shield, armor and hull. Now of course it is just the way how I like to fly these ships and how I like to use these drones from time to time. I would still prefer to use only one drone damage type, but in the end this combination, or should I say combining the damage types, also works quite well, and in some cases it's actually a good thing. Especially I think I have to use this combination in PvP just to see how it will perform. I am very curious to see how that will perform. Now, when I look at this Celestis over here, I was never a fan of the design of this ship. I don't know why, but this ship just looks very, very odd to me. I don't know why. And also a small detail that I did notice that is in the game: the drones and overall any weapon system usually likes to target crucial parts on the enemy ship. The drones usually aim for the warp drive, which is somewhere on the back of the ship. The drones also like to aim for the engines. They also like to aim for the command bridge or the cockpit, or in this case they like to target the overall weakest part of the ship. And I think all of these small attention to details are very important. Now, you might notice the cause for the ship's explosion in Eve is the collapse of the warp engine. Okay, this is, I think, going to be... Yep, this is going to be the last enemy in this mission here. Just look at the damage that the ship did withstand. Oh my god, the ship is riddled with holes. Okay, and onto this mission. Now this will be, I think, a tier 7 mission. I'm not quite sure. I think it is a tier 7 mission. Here I'm going to still be using drone combination. And throughout this mission I will also switch back to explosive drones only. Now, as for the missiles are very good for PvP. At the moment, the missiles are one of the most widely used PvP weapon systems in the game. Mostly because the missiles have good accuracy. Basically that means missiles do not miss, and that ensures a successful hit each time you fire a missile salvo. And of course, they also have a very fast rate of fire, which makes them have high DPS. And of course, the missiles are generally cheaper than the drones. You don't have to risk the missile launcher in PvP. In PvP, drones can be shot down, and so, trust me, if you lose one drone, that is already at least 10 million ISK damage. That is almost like a cruiser. So losing a drone pretty much equals losing a ship. That's why drones are not that popular in PvP. But drones are the most popular weapon system to be used for PvE, for missions, for encounters, for anomalies, because they do have very interesting mechanics. The one mechanic that I did develop, or should I say the one tactic that I did develop and that I do use, is the approach tactic that I like to call, where I approach the most dangerous enemy, I launch my drones at the enemy, and then I take 240 kilometer range from that enemy. The drones, even at 240 kilometers, are still going to be shooting at the target, which gives them a nearly infinite range in that aspect. And of course, that is one of the safest ways to do any difficult mission. So far, I didn't have any problems with that tactic. It works. I was quite successful with it. I do quite well with tier 8s and tier 10s with the tier 7 Arbitrator core tops. It only takes a little bit time to complete them, but in the end I do manage to complete them, and it did perform quite well with minimal incoming damage. So that's one aspect where drones are definitely outperforming missiles at. The missiles do have the practical use because they are cheaper, they never miss, and they have high rate of fire, and also they can have high alpha damage, which makes them very powerful tools. And overall, the most popular weapon system that made them the most popular weapon system in the game. Now recently there was a patch that I think did nerf rapid missiles a little bit, and I have to say it is a well-deserved nerf on the rapid missiles, because they were just too overpowered. And of course that caused people to only go for the Caracals, the Caracal Navy or the classic Caracal. Even some ships that are specialized in drones do have missiles as their primary weapon, because missiles are just that good. And I did have rapid missiles on my cover tops for some time, but I did change that into decomposers. But I think I might very well change that back again to missiles. I'm not quite sure yet. It depends on how much the rapid missiles were nerfed. Now you could see that in PvP I did quite well. You should use drones in PvP if you are in a fleet. That way you can ensure your drone's survival. No one will shoot your drones if you are in a fleet, in most cases, until smart bombs are introduced. When we have smart bombs, things are going to change, because then the drones can be easy targets. And smart bombs are going to be the #1 defense against drones once they are released. So things are going to be very interesting for the drone DPS ships. But for missions, the drones are still going to be I think in my case at least, the most powerful and the safest weapon to use. As you can see, I do have very long range with my drones, and they are doing very good damage on these enemy ships. Now soon, very soon, I'll be switching the encounter role to my prophecy, which is a drone DPS beast. It has a lot of drone DPS, and of course it has 5 drones instead of 4 drones, while the Arbitrator Cortops will be specialized for PvP, or in the other case I will have to buy a second Arbitrator Cortops for PvP, because I do have very expensive rigs in this ship, and I think I would still like to use this ship as a universal ship for both PvP and PvE. As for the ships that can utilize drones, well, the one that I do like a lot is definitely the Arbitrator Cortops, mostly because it is generally very good for both jobs, and of course I don't even change my fit when I go to join the fleet with this ship, because this is also a PvP fit as well as a encounter or a storyline mission fit. Now the only difference that I will make in the next tier 8 storyline is that I will change from some medium slot modules. I think I will have to put at least 2 of the group armor repairers, because I do want to retain the DPS that I already have. So that will be one thing that I will change, and after I change that, I think the ship will be very, very good for missions. Now it is already very good. It will only be better to correct myself a little bit there. Well, 2 of these battlecruisers are left, and I have to say the damage that these ships they take is not the damage that I want to see on my ship. Just look at how shredded and how badly damaged that ship looks. Now I have to admit, I do like these effects a lot. They make the game a lot more fun to watch, I guess, because you can actually see the damage that your ship is taking, or the damage that your ship is doing. And this is going to be the last Ferox in this mission. As you could see, the drones are very good. They are my #1 weapon system for missions, and of course I do like to use them in PvP. In PvP, just be careful not to let your drones be destroyed, because people are going to be shooting your drones down, because the drones are very expensive at the moment, and losing one drone equals losing a ship at the current market situation, especially if you have hammerheads. The Mark 7 hammerheads, they are very expensive. 22 million APs, that's a lot for a drone. Imagine losing 4 in PvP. That's already a 18 million loss, and that is something that I do not want to experience. Okay, well, I have to say I did have lots of fun playing this ship. The Prophecy is also a very good ship for drones. I do like it. I just need to improve a couple of rigs on it. And well, the last ship here was destroyed. That was a very fun mission, I have to admit. Well then, with that being said, I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that this was helpful. And With that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and I'll see you next time.